The redundancy, as I've mentioned, it's throughout the system. And then just to top it off, where we found our weakness was in our power system. The blackout knocked us out of business, except for the reservoir out here that helped us serve downtown and the low-lying areas of the suburbs. Since that time, we've invested $25 million in emergency generators so that every one of our facilities can operate at capacity should we ever have such an event again. But any given one of them can operate as well, which is probably the more likely, I hope, knock on wood scenario. I think the distribution system grid that's really in all of your communities and it's interconnected with each other serves as the heart and soul of our system. We can make the best water in the world, but if we put it through that grid and it turns the water dirty or cloudy or rusty, or it's too small, or it becomes stagnant in that system, we've really failed at our job. So our attention's really turning toward the redundancy and reliability of those systems. I think the financial viability of the system is important. The curve you see here is one of the declining consumption in the Cleveland water system. We serve the same number of customers that we served 40 years ago. In fact, we have more accounts than we did. So what's going on here? Well, industry has moved, or they've become more efficient in their water use. But most significant of all, every one of you uses less water. And mostly it's because you buy water efficient toilets, shower heads, appliances, you use less water for your lawn sprinkling and the like. So in the last 5 years, consumption declined 17%. So, and so you, some of you may have heard Mike Trevisano making fun of me on the radio, okay? Because I told him we had to raise rates because people use less water. But think about it. The majority of our costs are fixed. There's a few things that are not. Some of the electricity for pumping, when you use less water, you don't have to use quite as much electricity. Some of the chemicals we use, if you use less water, you don't have to use as much electricity. But these facilities and the repairs that we do in an aging infrastructure requires just as much staff, if not more, to keep the system running. So with fixed costs and declining consumption and thus declining revenue, you have to make up for it somehow. That's by raising the rates. Okay. So next time you hear him make fun of me, at least you'll understand what's behind the argument there. But a lot of people had a good time with that, including me. But I think it's just important that we maintain our financial wherewithal so that as things evolve and we do have to make further improvements and we want to improve your service, that we have the capacity to do that and to really serve as stewards of a multi-billion-dollar asset, and we don't let it fall back to the state it was in the 1970s. We've also taken the lead in the region's sustainability efforts. Mayor Jackson has really emphasized the fact that we need to get more green, not only in the city, but as a region. And within the Public Utilities Department, we've taken it seriously. We think it's an economic development tool. We think it's something that can be introduced throughout city government, and it's a way that we can not only save money, but reduce our long-term ecological footprint. So we've taken on a number of projects internally to further this effort. Now back to the distribution grid. The suburbs have 3,600 miles of that 5,000 miles of local pipe out there. If you had to replace it, it would cost $2.8 billion, today's dollars, or actually this is last year's dollars. One of the principal failures of the suburban system is the fact that it was installed before the 1960s, much of it with unlined pipe. And that pipe corrodes internally. When that corrosion occurs, there's bacteria in the corrosion, it reduces capacity, it causes rusty water, and it's a rather widespread problem in the suburbs. Just to take care of all the unlined pipe, we estimate, would cost about $500 when scrape out the corrosion and then put in an inert lining. Many of the suburbs lack a funding mechanism to take on the replacement or the cleaning and lining. And when we met with the Suburban Water Council of Governments prior to the rate increase that has recently been initiated, they asked that we take this on as a responsibility of the Division of Water. So what we've proposed is an investment of $10 million a year into the suburban water distribution grid. And so this becomes a bit of a segue into the economic development and water service agreements. I think what the suburban governments have asked us through the Suburban Water Council of Governments, who knows what the Suburban Water Council of Governments is? One or two, okay. This is an arm of the Cuyahoga County Mayors and Managers Association that is designated in your water service agreement with the City of Cleveland as the representative of the suburbs in putting forth your issues, your concerns, your wishes, demands, and the like. And so I encourage you to pay attention to the Suburban Water Council of Governments. Right now, Martin Zanotti, the mayor of Parma Heights, chairs it, and Kathy Mulcahy from Orange is the vice chair. And there's a board that represents your interests based on what region of the county or our service area you're in, whether you're a master meter or a direct service community, size of communities, and things of that nature. And there's 9 board members on the Suburban Water Council. We try to meet with them 3 to 4 times a year. We try to be good listeners during the course of those meetings, and this was the forum in which this issue was raised and where we agreed to move forward.